In this image of two women wearing modern black hijabs, we see what has become the global marker of Islamic modesty. Today, the headscarf is recognized as a mandatory requirement of the faith. For many believers, the stakes are absolute. In crowds like this one, wearing the veil is fueled by intense societal pressure and the conviction that leaving the hair uncovered is a violation of God's law, punishable by hellfire. To understand the origins of this rule, we have to look back to 7th century Arabia, a society vastly different than modern expectations. At that time, it was common for enslaved women to walk through public markets topless. They were forbidden by law and custom from covering themselves. The second caliph of Islam, Umar, enforced this class divide with violence. Historical records show he physically struck enslaved women if he caught them wearing a veil, demanding they not imitate the dress of free women. If covering the head is a universal moral obligation handed down by God to prevent sin, we have to ask why the most vulnerable women in early Islamic society were punished for doing it. This illuminated manuscript page shows the text of the Quran. When we audit these verses, the specific commandments regarding modesty become clear. The word hijab appears multiple times in the Quran, but in every instance it refers to a physical barrier, a spiritual screen, or a partition between two spaces. The Quran never uses the word to describe a piece of clothing on a person's head. The text most frequently cited to enforce the headscarf is verse 31 of chapter An-Nur. It instructs believing women to draw their shawls over their jiyub. In the Arabic language, jiyub refers specifically to pockets or the opening of a collar. Because many women in this era walked around topless, this was a specific instruction to pull their garments down and cover their chests. The verse widely used today to mandate the headscarf remains a straightforward command for torso modesty. It mentions nothing about covering the hair. A second key verse, found in the chapter Al-Ahzab, instructs women to wear an outer garment, called a jilbab, close around them when they go outside, so they will be recognized and not harassed. In the 7th century, enslaved women were treated as property and routinely harassed in the streets. Prophet Muhammad empowered believing women by allowing them to cover their bodies. Until then, wearing an outer cloak was a status symbol reserved exclusively for the tribal elite. This instruction provided a protective measure for safety and signaled class distinction in a dangerous era. It was a shield for social status, not a theological mandate to hide a woman's hair. These customs didn't emerge in a vacuum. They trace back to the Prophet's own family history. His grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, introduced several social practices designed to distinguish and protect his tribeswomen. By the time Muhammad was raised in that household, veiling was an ingrained cultural tradition, a sunnah, that functioned as a badge of tribal honor. The early headscarf served as a localized societal norm and a physical shield for a specific class of women. It was a practice of the household, not a universal divine rule handed down from God. The Quran commands both men and women to dress modestly, be humble, and cover their chests. Over centuries, linguistic misunderstandings and a loss of historical context transformed a local custom into a mandatory religious obligation. History identifies the headscarf as a personal choice and a cultural tradition carrying deep social weight. This photograph illustrates similar traditions across faiths. Catholic nuns and Orthodox Jewish women wear specific head coverings as a devoted practice of their religion. Removing divine obligation from the headscarf distinguishes human tradition from the Word of God. Clarifying this history allows women to be judged by the sincerity of their hearts, the content of their character, and their modesty, rather than the fabric on their heads.